Good afternoon. This is Ken at Tortoise Capital. This is the weekend podcast for day trading and swing trading for September 30th, 2018. Happy birthday, Rachel Long. There were no day trading questions asked in the lesson area, so we're just going to go straight to the swing. So the first question, when looking at dojis, when the open and the close of the day happen at pretty much the same price level, but clearly in the upper or lower half of the candle, does this give us additional directional information, like bullish or bearish dojis, or does it not signal any possible favorable direction? So I define a doji as a range that's less than 80% of the average range, and an open and a close that are close to each other inside that daily range. So these two definitions already communicate indecision in the battle between bulls and bears. So in my view, the fact that it's a doji is more important than the particular direction it may take. Because it's a doji, then we have evidence to believe that there is a larger than normal move going to happen in the short term, and it could be either direction because we have no way of knowing who's going to win, the bulls and the bears. The last information we had was that they were equivalent. But I do take your point, and I think you can say that where it closes is important, but not as important to me as the fact that it's a doji. So if both the open and the close were near the high of the day, I would be more prepared than ever to take the long side entry on the mechanical entry, but I'm generally ready to do that anyway. I'm just, if there's any even less hesitation, then that would be the case. But also because I believe more people want to go long than short. No matter what, I'm prepared to go short out of a doji anyway. And there's two reasons for that. Let's say that the doji closed near the high, and you might, like I just said, want to be leaning to the long side. Therefore, if it crashes out of the doji, then that's even a bigger shock to the people that want to go long. So I would want to go short out of that one especially, because it's already reversed that first hint in the doji. Second, if the doji closed near the bottom and it continues to fail, well then that tells me that was like a failed breakout or a failed reversal. It couldn't get any higher, closed weakly back to where it opened. That means the bulls weren't ready to hold it overnight, and then it fails the next day. That reinforces the fail. So normally speaking, I would have a 60-40 preference to go short out of a doji. I mean, I'll go either direction, but if it's already going short, then I already feel better about the trade. Now there's a related idea in this that has to do with bottoming tails. So a bottoming tail is not a doji, all right, but it shares the idea with the doji of the open and the close being very close to each other, and I like to define it in the upper 20% of the daily range with a larger than average range. So if I were to draw that, it would look like this. One moment, please. Come on. So a bottoming tail would look something like this. A wider or a bigger than average range, and then a close in the top 20%. So this looks like something that opened here, sold all the way off, and then had a nice big long close. So we had two tradable moves intraday, and it closed well. So it closed in the upper half. So that's one that quite often is going to signal a long side move. So the bottoming tail is similar to the doji in that sense. So those bottoming tails candles will stick out like a sore thumb and should be treated as a warning of a long side move becoming imminent. Next one. When I add a position in a well-moving swing trade Am I using core equity or margin, or is that just a way to slowly scale in? Well, if my initial position was a regular bullet, then if I'm adding around 2R with momentum in hand, then that's just another bullet, and it's part of my. I've already considered those 2Rs to be mine now, and I'm risking one of them, and so I treat that as a core equity for scaling in. So the open risk was already my money now. Next, you notice I seem to trade the downswings in a bull market. What are the key rules for when the market is turning over? This is what I would like to see in a chart. So if I'm in a bull market, but I want to play something short, I would like to see that as the weakest stock in the weakest sector and failing. But I would also like to see, if I could, to see the market itself and the sector that the symbol is in both rolling over from summer to fall in MACD, or crossing the line into winter would be even better. That's a no-brainer. I would like to see a measured, reasonable move back to the Bollinger Band mean, and I would like to see evidence of the market increasing volatility in risk Z. And all of those things taken together would help me on the swing trade to want to take that position short, because the market is running out of steam, and I'm already into a position that is, or I'm going into a position that has already been failing faster than the market, and so when you undercut it with the market weakness, then there should be more losses on that one. Okay. I'm going to be adding 2 additional videos tonight into this area. I'm going to comment on Ken Hum. Did a very good self-analysis on 6 months of trading, swing trading, using the trade index analysis, and I'm going to reinforce some important points. I'm going to add comments on Gabriel's Chromatis's essay on timing market condition in order to decide on the level of trading activity. He wrote a very nice essay in the weekly Tharp email, but I want to make some comments on that in terms of critical thinking. And I'm going to be, if I can get to it tonight, I will. I'm going to be putting some words to these black belt or these blue belt concepts. So someone asked me what I thought, the core competencies were, and these are going to be the things that I emphasize with the Swing Trade Boot Camp in December. And these are like the 37 things that I think are fundamental to what I teach in both swing and day. And some of these are concepts, some are techniques. Most of these are techniques. So I'm going to be developing that out, and if I can get to it tonight, I will post that in here. All right, so I've got soccer to get to tonight. That's why I had to go early with this. So appreciate your attention, and you can look back to this space for links to these additional essays. I'm going to make them make them video lessons in the swing course as well. So they should be on the master list also. So take good care, and we'll see you in the chat room.